we know him by so many names. Agent Zero, Hibachi. He's a 3-time All-Star, 3-time All-NBA. The man once dropped 60 points in a game, 11 years in the league. Gilbert Arenas is here in studio.
No chill, what up?
What's happening? I see someone who's not happy.
Well, I mean, look, I was going to say you and Richard were teammates at Arizona for 2 seasons, and I don't think he's recovered from it, really, is what's going on.
It's kind of like how I just got here. He had to move.
Yeah, he did.
I get his water.
Right?
I mean, it's just one of those things that he loses all of him to me.
I've never liked this man in my life. There's nothing.
What was Richard like as a teammate? What can you tell us about our coworker here?
I mean, he was a douche. He was the worst.
Say that?
Douchebag? You can say douchebag.
No. We gotta keep what.
Keep moving.
He was the worst. He wasn't. He was the worst. He was sarcastic, but he was sarcastic. If you had the fire, he pushed it out of you. He knew how to, push your buttons.
Yes.
That I would say, Paul, you said that you experienced that here, right?
Oh, yeah. Oh, this is a great combination. That's why they went to the Final Four.
Yeah.
Wait, no, we went to the Final Four because of me.
Oh, my God.
We lost in the Final Four because of him. He's the reason why we might have got there.
Like, what happened?
But he's the reason why we lost.
There's
I remember Richard being a lottery pick.
Yes, most people do. Gilbert was a second-round pick.
Second-rounder.
Well, that's what happens when you don't have a position. See, look at that. Terrible pass. I made him look good. Look at that.
Look. He can always shoot, though.
Kinda.
Wait, did you say we lost because of me?
Yes.
I thought it was because Dunleavy hit you for 21.
No. It's because you scored. You were 4 for 14. That's why we lost. Who was guarding you?
Dunleavy, 21. And he scored 21 up until then. So he doubled his input.
But you were nice and supportive when Richard got drafted.
No, he wasn't. No, he wasn't. He was like,
didn't even shake his hand.
No, he didn't even.
Didn't even come to the draft.
No, you don't care.
I was the number 1 player. He was like 3rd or 4th option. Yes, he was athletic, but that shouldn't get you drafted 13th, 14th.
This is the thing. Gilbert has court-ordered therapy, everybody. So this right here is like kind of him getting out all of those demons that he has.
You can do that on television. Yeah. It's all good. We want to talk about your NBA. I could actually do this all day, Richard, frankly. That's why I brought you here.
I'm still going to drink the water because it was yours.
Oh, no. What is going on?
Only because it was his, and that's...
There's so many things. Now, I covered you, Gil, in D.C. It was not the most functional team. I'm just going to put it out there with the Wizards. And I was interested because a teammate of yours, briefly, you guys overlapped for part of a season. Trevor Booker was on the Hoops Height podcast with the excellent Alex Kennedy recently. And take a listen to this.
Those guys didn't care at all. I would come into the locker room the day of a game and watch, one player cut up a suit of another player. One guy took a in another guy's shoe. Oh my goodness. I have stories for days. We would go on the road, we would break into each other's room and beat a player up, tie him up. It was so many stories I got from those Washington days. It was so much fun, but looking back on it, oh my goodness, it was so unprofessional.
Who was the leader of that team?
The leader?
Who was the?
Oh, no. I was already on the way out.
Yeah,
I was mentally already gone, buddy.
Oh, man.
I was out of that. You got to put that on Antoine and Karan there.
And he's throwing other people under the bus.
No, that was a team. I was out.
I was a Pran KV team, though, right?
No, you said it, the most fun he's ever had as a professional.
Because it was unprofessional.
No, because it was that
no wonder
group.
They couldn't win.
No, it was that group. It was older, and then all the young kids came in. So it was like a frat house.
Well, yeah, there was a lot of pranks, and then pranks went too far, right? And then
Not that year.
Not that year.
I was out. I was in Orlando.
Yes.
Most of that year. So
okay.
There you go. Look, you were a perennial playoff team most of the time that you were in D.C. At your peak, certainly. I mean, look, I could play highlights from that stretch of your career all day, and the way players respect you and your game around the league, Paul. I mean,
Absolutely.
Richard notwithstanding, but
zero respect.
you can make the point to the youngsters out there how other players felt about
Gil.
Gil.
He would be one of the all-time greats. I truly believe that.
I made a comparison, and I hate to even say this to his face, but for all the younger players I don't know, imagine combining John Wall and Dame Lillard. right? You could shoot from anywhere like Dame Lillard, but you also had the speed and the quickness to attack downhill and finish like John Wall. That was a kind of a mean combination. Sad it went to waste.
Well, there was
The sad part is I will compare him to somebody.
Don't.
You just can't.
We've already
That's
learned
Richard.
that. There was the incident where you suspended, right, for much of the 2010 season, and you have said it wasn't because you brought guns into the locker room. It was because of the way you handled things after that.
Yes, with any rule, you have to be guilty. You have to be found guilty before they can suspend you.
Yeah.
But knowing me, I'm gonna act the way I act. So I wasn't gonna let up because you're saying I did this. So I'm gonna make fun of you. So they suspended me for
that picture. That picture right there.
Yeah. So it was. So I got
That has
suspended.
nothing to do with the guns, though.
No, I got
It was
suspended.
the pointing of the fingers?
I got suspended 50 games for detrimental to the team because they can hold that suspension as long as they want.
And ladies and gentlemen, and still a record to this day. Still a record. 50 games.
Because a gun suspension would have been 1 or 3 to 5 games. So
They were like, what can we find that will be more? Is
Yes.
basically. Do you
Yes.
have regrets about how you handled all of that? Do you have regrets about
You can be honest,
bringing the
it's
guns
okay.
in the first place? Do you have regrets about any
Just
of the other
lie
stuff
and
that
say
happened
yes.
with
Just
it?
lie and say yes.
Just
lie and say yes.
But I can't do that.
He has no regrets.
The only thing, no, I'm going to be honest. The only thing I regret is actually being guilty of claiming them.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh, so okay.
So being honest, I regret being honest.
Okay,
because
that's fair.
There you go. Do you have regrets about the way you handled your injury at the end of that stretch too? Because that was all wrapped up together.
Yeah, watching Kawhi, take his time and watching players take their time, then, we think we're Superman. So at 25, it's like, this crew is going to catch me if if I'm hurt. So
Yep.
I decided, you know what, this is really not that important. So I just kept, working out like I normally did.
Do you wish load management had existed when you were in the league? Because I asked Richard that yesterday, and we asked Tracy Grady that, and Max said he wishes it was more of a thing. He thinks his career would have extended.
Same thing. I think as athletes, we play hurt to prove we're actually hurt instead of just getting healthy and going out to perform. And so, I wish that contract and money wasn't important to, team and ticket sales. So it's like we're planning for the future, not just hurry up and get out there. You don't look that hurt. 60% of you is better than 100% of somebody like Richard.
I hear people laughing. Stop laughing out there.
So it's,
So it's like our era, trainers and coaches and management would put pressure on you when you were hurt. It was like, when is he going to be ready? What's wrong with him today? Why is he not out there? Can he practice? So it's always constantly talking when we're in our era where now they're like more receptive to guys, let's make sure he's ready. The investment is a lot heavier now when you're paying Kawhi $30 million and you're paying Gil like 12, 15. So, that's still a lot of money, but when you're paying a guy pretty much half the team's salary, it's like we want him healthy.
Right, and look, and that it depends kind of what your era is and what your thinking is. James Harden plays in this era, but just today he was being asked about load management. His quote to reporters was, "Even if I'm a little bit banged up, I try to push through to a certain extent. Have you ever seen me not play because of load management?" He said. I don't know. Do you feel that Harden, people have said that Harden should have taken a few more games off when he was sort of really pushing for the MVP because he'd be fresher in the playoffs. I don't know where you are on that one either.
If you're injured, then yes, take some time to get healthy. But if you're just fatigued and a little banged up, no, I wouldn't have sat out for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I personally believe that you made the right decision.
Oh,
And
yeah,
you
'cause
played you played through all the stuff. But look, most minutes played in a single season. That's actually pretty impressive. And look at the years.
Right.
07, 05, 05, 07. Like literally, that's
guys
right.
didn't sit out.
Guys didn't sit out. That's
Right.
right before guys started understanding. And then there was 9 people on the medical staff. There was like medical science. That's before all of this, furthering of medicine in sports kind of came into play. So some guys are still playing like Bron, and some people are sitting here
Like us?
Like us.
Yeah. I know you wanted to poke at me a little bit, but us. We're here.
There you go. We're not letting Gilbert leave because why would we break this up? We really could watch this all day. This is the second time this week Paul and I have gotten to see the Gilbert Arenas Richard Jefferson show, and it never disappoints. We can't have Gil here, though, without playing a little What Were You Thinking? So there is a lot of material. Don't go anywhere. We're going to have a lot of fun with him there. First, though, it's time for our second distant replay of the day. Guys, you remember Ricky Davis in 2002? This was on this date.
This when he got his triple-double?
That's right.
No.
Oh, this when he went through the leg. Oh, that is in the game. Is that the only time that's ever been done?
I don't remember ever seeing that in a game.
In the game. Nobody's ever done that in the game.
I got my cape on like Super.
Gilbert Arenas is here. I got to say, I introduced you at the ComplexCon panel, and I said this is one of the most notorious and smartest players I have ever covered. And I would say that
One of those is right.
just in the last segment proved both of those. Accurate. Let's test you on our League Pass game of the night, 76ers at Nuggets. This will feature a battle of elite big men. So, Gil, who would you rather have on your team, Joel Embiid or Nikola Jokic?
I'll take the lazy Embiid.
The
What?
lazy
The lazy
Embiid.
Embiid. Even though he's lazy, he's still giving you
Why?
28 and 13.
Why would you say that he's lazy?
He lost 20 pounds this offseason.
I know, but I mean, the way he plays, he's just.
So what about Jokic?
If you got 20 pounds to lose, that lets you know. That lets you know something.
You know what? I'm going with Embiid too because I thought Joker should have came back a little bit in better shape. I think he came back, not as good a shape. After having a year he had, it was like.
But he's got one of those like Tim Duncan bodies where he got no definition.
Yeah, but he could have
the old Kevin Love body.
The old Kevin Love body, the Kevin Love college body.
Yeah, but he could have dropped some more weight. His whole thing was his defense, and that's why I'm giving Embiid the edge over him, just both because he plays both sides of the ball. But the guy, he's one of the smartest players and best passers in the league, but it's just, I feel like he came back not a better player.
He came back admittedly heavier, right? And yes, the passing wasn't as crisp as we know he can do and is used to. He looked a little better in their last game. I mean, I voted for Embiid for All-NBA ahead of Jokic. It didn't turn out that way. More people voted for Jokic. I think Embiid is a force on both sides of the ball, and I think he's come back sort of with adding a few pieces this year. But we're going to have to see. I mean, Paul, you keep saying who's going to be there at the end of games in the playoffs for the Sixers. Embiid says it's going to be him. He's got to prove it.
Get him a chance to be MVP.
I mean, when you average 28 and 13 and you had Jimmy Butler on your team averaging 20-something and you had Ben Simmons being dominant too, that just shows you how dominant he is with other dominant players.
He's got to stay healthy. That's my biggest thing with him is like if Embiid is healthy, yes, he's one of the best players in the league, period. But I think Jokic and the way he approaches it, if he's in shape, which he wasn't to start the season, but he did play international basketball. So, you start to give yourself a little time off. So he's probably not going to start the season as strong as he should. Yeah,
look, Embiid obviously has a very well documented, had to sit out first couple seasons, health issues. Last year, he tried to prove to everyone, I don't have any injury problems. I'm going to play all the time. I'm not going to sit when they want me to sit. I'm going to play. He was leading the league in minutes at one point last year, I believe, like all this stuff. And obviously it burned him out by the end of the season. He had injury problems the back 20 games of the season into the playoffs. He said that he's learned he's going to play his regular season a little bit differently.
Load management.
Has not used that word, but we will see. The words I'm going to use now, I really felt, Gil, you were born to play. This is a game that we play on the jump all the time. It is called What Were You Thinking Now with Gilbert Arenas. First up, Gil, this is a moment. PJ Tucker just called this out in a Sports Illustrated interview a couple weeks ago, saying that you rocked Dolce & Gabbana shoes against the Lakers in 2010. You had 23 points in that game. He said that that's the most baller move he's ever seen. So, Gil, what were you thinking?
I didn't have a shoe contract at that moment, so I was testing out different shoes. And Nick Young came to the locker room with the Dolce & Gabbanas on, and it matched the jersey. So I just put them on.
Already in your shoes?
Oh, no, they were Knicks. They were
you made him give you his shoes?
No, I just took the shoes. I just took the shoes, put them on, and just played.
Wait, did he know?
No, until we went out and shoot around.
You are kidding.
No.
You talking about, he's one of the most spontaneous players.
It was just one of those things. I had regular shoes on during shoot around, and then
right.
1, 2, 3, and we ran out there, just switched shoes.
What did he say to you when he noticed that you were wearing the shoes that he wore to the arena that day?
Please don't shoot me.
No, gibberish?
Richard.
It's Nick Young. Half the stuff he says you don't really pay attention
In
to.
2007, you crossed up Kobe twice in one game. Gil, what were you thinking in this moment? We'll play the video.
Okay.
Ooh.
And
one.
Dang, okay.
Okay.
You got some pretty impressive highlights on Kobe. You gave him 60.
You know what I mean? It's the same thing
Awesome.
I think when anyone guards me.
Which is?
It's not going to go well for you.
Ooh.
You know, it's.
Ooh.
What does it feel like, again, Hibachi, what does it feel like when you are heating up?
Kobe's like, wow.
I trained so much, and I looked at, how players play defense, so I knew he couldn't move left or right, but I knew I couldn't do the same move twice. So the first one to be left to right, the second one to be right to left. Knowing that if I did try the same thing, he would snatch it, so I had to play different types of games.
Could you imagine if you used all of your powers for good, right? Not just evil. Could you imagine? Like that's the issue because, like, again, I will stand by this. Gilbert to me is the best player to ever come out of Arizona, right?
I am the best player.
Just shut up. He was the best player to come out of Arizona, but because of his work ethic and because of his approach to the game, the way he improved his game over the first 4 or 5 years of his career is probably as good as anybody I've seen.
And then
one comment, and then
see, you know me, I'm selfish, so I'm going to take his compliment, and I'm not going to give him one back.
I don't want a compliment.
Again, I've been around the two of you before. Next up, in 2007, what were you thinking, Gilbert Arenas, when you celebrated this game-winning shot before it went in versus the Jazz? Here we go. Okay.
Let's show the replay.
Wait, this angle. There we go.
He was still looking. No, he saw it.
He's okay.
I mean, look.
It still had like 2 feet to go.
We see Steph. He don't. He know what's going on. He still was looking.
I had Karolinko and Brewer guarding me the whole game, and I lit them up for 48. So you have Darren Williams on me, and there was really nothing. It was just one of those things.
And stats from like 12 years ago.
Oh, he's crazy.
The most stats from every
brain,
game.
I'm telling you, I have not been around a person like
one
this.
of the most.
How much did you average on my Celtics teams?
I don't know. I know I had 7 the first game of that year, and then I hit you for 44. 7 against
true.
7 against Cleveland, gave you 44.
We couldn't guard him.
What were you thinking when you pulled off this trampoline dump at the 2007 All-Star game?
What were you doing?
Oh my goodness.
Listen. They wasn't really performing at their best.
I just want people think that people who didn't see this dunk contest might think, oh, he did this in the dunk contest. No, this is when like the halftime performers were like doing stuff.
Yeah, because
they were missing
dunks. They were missing dunks, so everyone was like,
no, he's lying. Basically, Gilbert used to go in at night and shoot every single night, and when the trampoline guys used to practice, he started messing around with them. So he bet somebody that I'll go do this. He's like, I'll do this. No, you want this? I'll go do it. And so obviously he'll jump in front of a car if you bet him to do it. And so,
Yeah, Shaq bet me $10,000 to do it because I was talking trash.
There we go. Thank you.
Shaq bet me $10,000.
All right.
That's the truth.
So I decided
there's the truth.
There you go. Did you get the money?
No.
There you go. Thank you, everyone, for joining me. We can't follow that, so we're just going to sign off. Bye.